1, 2, 3, 4. Mike and John got it going on. Mike and John got it going on.
Welcome to Wednesday with Mike and John. It's Livingston County's local podcast.
Nope.
Oh, it's Thursday, isn't it?
Nope. Oh, yeah.
It is Thursday.
Yes, it is.
Can we start over?
Okay, hold on. Let me.
Welcome to Thursday
Too much
with Mike and John, Livingston County's local podcast. I'm just a day behind, $1 short.
Well, as usual.
And we're brought to you by our friend Jordan Genso, official Giggle Realtor. Coming up today, we'll get to your 2-cent history lesson. We'll find out if we got a winner in last night's Wednesday night trivia. See, that's where the Wednesday came from that I was thinking.
Right. Okay.
Got to get these things straight. WNT. Find out if we got a winner in that. And we're talking to Rich Perlberg a little bit later on this morning.
Yes, we are.
About the less you know.
The less we will know.
And
we'll know less.
Do we have a topic today?
Yes, and we'll get to that in news, actually.
All right. Well, before I censure you, we should probably do news then.
You think?
Have you ever been censured?
Not formally.
Is that like a slap on the wrist?
Kind of a private
Is that a little
thing?
pat? You've been censured. Okay, we're going to find out more as we check out local news brought to you by our friends at Cooper and Binkley Jewelers in downtown Brighton.
All right, here's what's going on. 2 people are dead following a domestic dispute in Highland Township. The Oakland County Sheriff's Office reports a man went to the Highland Township home of his in-laws Wednesday, fatally shooting his father-in-law before shooting and wounding his mother-in-law and his wife before he was shot and killed by responding deputies. The incident happened about 8:30 in the morning at a condominium in the 400 block of Delmore Court near South Milford Road. The gunman, identified as a 42-year-old resident of Dearborn Heights, opened fire on his father-in-law, shot his mother-in-law, then his wife. The father-in-law, age 69, died at the scene. The mother-in-law, age 70, and the wife, age 37, were being treated at area hospitals. Their wounds were not believed to be life-threatening. The gunman was on a second-floor balcony when he was shot by deputies who arrived within minutes of being dispatched. 3 children were in the home at the time. They were not injured. 2 of the children belonged to the gunman and his wife. The third was a cousin. The cousin was returned home. The other 2 children are staying with relatives. Deputies from Highland Township, Lyon Township, and Commerce Township, as well as Milford Township Police, responded to the scene. A 2-story home in Harlan Township sustained major damage from a fire Thursday. Shortly after 1 p.m., units with the Heartland-Deerfield Fire Authority arrived at the residence in the 1600 block of Maxfield Lake Road, west of the Heartland Glen Golf Course. Firefighters were able to safely evacuate both the residents and their dogs, although the pets were administered oxygen and then taken to the veterinarian. A cause for the fire has yet to be released. Also assisting were units from the Howell and Brighton Fire Departments, as well as the Disaster Assistance Response Team. And the Livingston County Republican Party has passed a formal censure motion against Republican State Representative Mike Muller of Linden for his vote to approve a tax overhaul for retirees and low-income residents. Earlier this month, Representative Muller was the lone Republican to vote for a tax proposal package that was put up by majority Democrats, boosting the state's earned income tax credit from 6% to 30% while also repealing Michigan's tax on pensions. Mueller said he crossed the aisle to vote yes in order to, quote, give working families, first responders, teachers, and seniors a tax break that's meaningful enough to have an impact and not just a political win, end quote. However, the Livingston County Republican Party saw it differently. They said Mueller had joined Democrats to, quote, cheat Michigan taxpayers of a constitutionally apportioned tax cut. The censure motion, dated March 2nd, also formally requested that Michigan House Minority Leader Representative Matt Hall of Comstock Township remove Mueller from the Michigan Republican caucus for his vote. For his part, Mueller said, as an elected representative, it was his responsibility to put the residents of his district above all other interests and that he would always push politics aside in favor of delivering for the people he represents. And we'll have more on this story coming up with Rich Perlberg during the Less You Know segment. And that's what's going on.
And news brought to you by Cooper and Binkley Jewelers in downtown Brighton. Of course, the Binkleys have a commitment to customer service, honesty, professionalism, and, of course, exquisite merchandise, plus superior community involvement. You know them, the Binkleys are involved in the Walk to End Alzheimer's. They contribute to all kinds of local sports teams and youth groups. And they're also a big part of Fund a Life, and they've got a big fundraiser going on for Fund a Life, nonprofit, which they support people in life-altering situations. For just $200 a ticket, you'll have a chance, a 1 in 100 chance, to win a $10,000 jewelry shopping spree at Cooper and Binkley Jewelers. Details are available at Cooper and Binkley Jewelers and on the Fund a Life website. That's fundalife.org/impact. Do you know what the odds are if you have 100 tickets and you buy one, John?
I believe that would be 1 in 100.
That's right, John.
Hold on, let me get my calculator.
You've got the math
out.
right.
Let me work
for
this
a
out.
change.
Yes, 1 in 100.
All right. Thanks to Cooper and Binkley Jewelers. Of course, if you are looking for that special design, they custom design things. They have designs latest from Simon G. and Zagani as well. So stop by and see them today. Support local businesses in downtown Brighton. Cooper and Binkley Jewelers online at cooperandbinkleyjewelers.com. All right, in last night's trivia, did you check out the answer?
You never gave me the answer.
I didn't give you the answer.
Yeah.
I sent it.
No, you didn't.
Did I not send that?
No.
Oh, all right. Well, here's the question.
You got it over there. Okay, I see the answer now. I know the answer.
Apparently, a couple other people did too.
Okay.
1 in 8 adults in a recent survey said they can't do this, but kids find it easy.
Right.
So there was a lot of awesome guesses, and of course, trivia brought to you by our OG sponsor, Firehouse Doors.
You know, for someone like me, that would be like, say, I don't know, climbing the stairs.
No, it's not that.
Okay.
Although there was some pretty good guesses
Yeah.
last night, and if you pull up our trivia from last night, you'll be able to check out those answers. Are you with me?
I'm getting there. You do
getting
your
there?
thing.
I'm
I'm doing
getting
my
there, too. I'm
thing.
getting
Someone's
there,
got to
too.
run this show, fella. All right.
I feel like I've been censured right here on the show. Yeah, write that down. bring out the authorities
You
on me.
are censured.
Okay. All right. So some of the great answers that we got last night. 1 in 8 adults. Thank you.
There's your censure motion.
Yeah, put that right where it's the garbage over there.
Hey!
You want me to recycle that? Where were we? Back
I
in
don't
the
know.
trivia question. 1 in 8 adults in a recent survey said they can't do this, but kids find it easy. So the first thing, obviously, most of us would go to technology, right? Thinking
Sure.
video games or how to set the timer on your car for the clock.
Right.
Make a TikTok video.
Although adults are getting pretty good at that, I'd say.
Ian said due to gritty. and has a dancing man.
I see.
Yes. Is that the
Any
gritty?
kind of
That's
dance
the
move.
gritty?
Yeah, I don't
okay.
Jeff said sit cross-legged.
Yeah. A couple of people have said that. And what is it? Crisscross
Applesauce?
Yeah. Wayne said the splits. Touch their toes, said Sarah.
See their toes.
Robin said hula hoop.
Yeah.
Do kids hula hoop anymore, really?
I don't know.
You know, that just seems like they would look at that and go, why?
It would be like, well, I got an app on my phone. I can hula hoop there.
Yeah, there you go.
Linda said pogo stick, similar to sort of the hula hooping. Now, if you can hula hoop and pogo at the same time,
That's talent.
that's some talent, fella.
We want to see a video of that. Hear high-pitched sounds. Is that a thing? Kimberly said a cartwheel. That's somewhat close. Sleep with a light on.
Yeah, Sue Ellen.
Yeah.
Sleep with the light on. So adults are not good at this, but kids are. Okay.
Christine said shovel snow.
We just don't want to.
Yeah.
That's why we have kids.
Cougar
Go
said
shovel the snow.
and cut the grass.
Yeah.
Cougar said skip.
And in Michigan, you can do that on the same day.
Yes.
Skip.
Yeah, skipping.
Oh.
That's good exercise.
When was the last time you skipped? I mean, how old were you?
Let's just
You
say.
know, 4?
Let's just say you decide to enhance your walk
Okay.
for the day.
Sure.
And maybe you can do this when the knee's better.
Yeah.
And you decide to skip around the block.
Not be able to do it. I mean,
It
if
is,
you
it is
were
a very athletic move.
right
When you think about
But
it.
if you were looking out your window and you saw an adult,
Skipping? Do you want me to do it right
man
here?
or woman, and was just skipping down on the sidewalk.
I'm going to skip.
Okay.
Let me see if I can do that.
Well, you might get a little room here. You're going to run into me.
Well, I can do it in place.
Okay.
No, it's... There we go. We're skipping. I'm skipping
Okay.
on the show, John. Your turn.
No.
No?
Maybe
It
next
was a
year.
great guess. It was a great guess.
Maybe
though.
next year we'll.
See, I had to kind of do some recall to learn how to skip. Although
Wait, do that again.
you sure you want me to
Yeah, do that again.
Do it again?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Are you going to make a TikTok video out of this?
Oh, sure.
Okay. Hold on. I got right leg first. There we go. How's that?
No, if I'm telling you,
I'm walking around the block.
If you looked out your window and you saw someone skipping down the street, an adult, you'd be like, I'm gonna call the police.
What's he on?
Just checking into that, will you?
Yeah, I didn't dip into John's medication.
No.
I would have been censured again for that. Patricia said climbing on the monkey bars.
Yeah. They don't even have monkey bars anymore, do they?
I don't know. Do they? Do they call them that?
No. Probably. Yeah. No.
After monkeypox, they decided not to have monkey bars anymore. Let's see. Jump rope.
Yeah.
Was another great guess. Work a cell phone.
Technology.
Yeah.
Michelle mentioned that, so same thing.
Back stuff up into the cloud.
Mike Tipton said set up a Zoom meeting.
Yeah. Those are fun.
Yeah, those are great.
Pamela said befriend a stranger.
Yeah. I mean, kids are. My oldest, when
I'm
he
sorry,
was.
you're strange. I'm not
I
befriending
mean,
you.
when my old, he's 25 almost.
Boy,
when
you're
he
old.
was 5, we'd take him to the playground, and he would just run up to kids who had no, and he'd start babbling out the phone number because he just memorized it. Hey, you want to be friends? Call my number. Do
you know how to skip?
And the other kids would be like, what's happening?
Want to be my friend? It's like that chickens in
We're going to have to work
Greece.
on some of your social skills, son.
Hey, we don't want to be best friends for life. Here's my phone number. So the right answer, and a couple of people got it, was ride a bike. Ride a bike. So one in 8 adults.
But they say
they can't do this.
Yeah. But they say you never forget how to ride a bike.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
Now you never forget how to skip either.
As you
It's like riding
demonstrate.
a bike.
Yeah.
You just have to, kind of do a little recall from years gone by. So congratulations to those that got it right. We have no prize for you, but you have bragging rights for it today.
We got nothing
prize.
for you. Well, you got to
know
see
what?
Mike skip.
You know what?
I mean, if that wasn't prize enough.
I got a leftover censure. I'll give to those that got it right.
Okay, you can frame it.
So a lot of fun last night with checking out some of those guesses from Wednesday night trivia here on Mike and John. Got it going on. Of course, our major sponsor, our OG sponsor,
Yes.
Friends of Firehouse Doors. If you need garage repair, new garage door, perhaps you had a little incident where you slid in the snow and ice and bumped into your garage door, they can take care of you, can't they, John?
They sure can. 25 years serving Livingston County. Give them a call, 810-599-7480. Also your exclusive distributor for CHI overhead doors here in Livingston County.
What about the RSODs?
Well, of course, don't forget the RSODs.
Rolling overhead steel doors.
Rolling steel
So
overhead doors.
RSODs. Yes,
yeah.
got to remember that. 810-599-7480 for Firehouse Doors. So Rich is going to join us in just a couple minutes. And we want to thank those that, as we mentioned on yesterday's show, we featured one of Rich's columns.
Right. Every Sunday he's going to write an opinion column.
He's a little guy sitting around his apartment thinking, I've got to write something down. So we said, okay.
We wanted to keep him busy,
Before he gets lost, starts wandering the streets of Howell.
The bathrobe. He's not going to want to talk
Asking
to
you
us
to buy him coffee.
So,
I hope he doesn't watch pre-show.
So every Sunday you'll look for that. And today we're talking about the censure motion that we had in the news.
You've been censured, King.
Yeah.
Good morning, you guys.
Good morning, Rich. So we're talking.
Can I
censured.
say that? I don't know what I can say without being censored.
Yeah, that's where.
No,
well, you know
not
what?
censored,
You
censured.
Wait, huh?
Is it censured or censored?
Is it Mueller or
I
Mueller?
think I think it's crazy.
Okay. Well, that's a different way to pronounce it.
Yes, I think that's the French pronunciation.
Okay. So we're talking about this censure motion. I'm going to call it censure. The censure motion from the Livingston County Republican Party against Republican State Representative Mike Mueller.
Is it Mueller or Mueller?
I think it's Mueller.
But it looks.
Is it Mike or Mikey?
Okay.
Wow.
Well, we're off the rails.
Yes, we are.
See what happens when I wake up early?
Right. Okay. All right. Well, that's fair enough. Yeah, he was and as we said in the news, he was the lone Republican to vote with Democrats in the House for the tax reform package. And for that, the local Republican Party has basically said, this does not uphold our principles, and he should be removed from all his committee posts.
And he should be forced to dress as a drag queen. Okay. I think you guys.
I don't think I saw that in the
story.
That.
Maybe I was read between the lines. Now the thing
you got to read the footnotes, guys.
Okay, sorry.
So is this like being in a gang and you didn't quite, live up to the gang's
This
potential?
is like the 7th grade girls when they keep doing their list of who's my favorite 10 friends.
Oh, okay.
Keep rotating them.
Damn.
Yeah.
So when they do a censure, when they what do they present, or they?
Nothing.
Is there something written? Is it?
Yeah.
Well, didn't they send a request to the Republican leadership to not let him be part of the caucus?
Right.
Not get into the clubhouse anymore.
Right. The motion itself is on the Republican Party's website. You can see it. It's a formal motion. Sort of the whereas, therefore.
Here, so. We're into this.
Exactly.
And you know what? We're changing the handshake too. So, no more.
It's silly on one hand, and it just shows you how wacky they've gotten.
But see, this is these censures have happened for school boards or for local different levels of government, and do they really mean anything? That's the thing.
Well, it just shows that it can in the long run. I don't think anybody. I think most of the districts in Genesee. I don't think anybody in Genesee County gives a rip of what a handful of people on the Livingston County Republican Board do. But in the bigger sense, it's who's running the party now. I mean, who's going to get recruited to run in primaries? Who's going to get the party support? And who wins primaries? Wins in November. So it's just more of the craziness that says you can't have a independent mind. You've just got to go along, or else we're gonna hold our breath and turn purple and call you bad names. I mean, I give Mueller some credit. I don't know the guy at all, but I mean, I'm pretty sure all the Democrats voted for it, so he could have told the line and nobody would have known the difference.
Right.
It was going to pass without his vote, and he voted on principle. And where does a guy like that come from anymore? What's he doing in Lansing?
And I think it's important to note, Mueller is no Birkenstock wearing, pot smoking hippie here. I mean, he's a former Livingston County Sheriff's deputy, very conservative. Mm-hmm. His family owns an apple orchard in the Linden area, so small town business, small business owner.
Absolutely.
And everything that Republicans would seemingly embrace, but
no, except he had an independent mind. I don't think they embraced that.
Right, and look, to be fair, party orthodoxy, you see that in both parties for sure.
Of course.
Maybe not to this extent though, and I guess
remember in the federal level, who was that guy from West Virginia, plus the Arizona woman, who pretty much held the party hostage because both sides in the U.S. Senate were voting straight party, and they could control it with their vote. You don't give me a bunch of stuff in West Virginia.
I mean, look, I'll take you way back if you remember Congressman James Traficant from Ohio.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, thank you.
Nobody remembers.
Thank you.
James Traficant.
I do. I remembered. He was a Democrat who always bucked the Democratic line, and eventually the Democrats. I mean, for the longest time though, they needed his vote. They wanted his vote, so they kind of just looked the other way. And then eventually,
because Traficant.
Yeah, well, that's right. And then eventually they had to go this. They censored him, and then I can't remember. I think.
Do you get a certain amount of censures before you get thrown out of the party? I mean, kind of like in a soccer game, you get 2 yellows and then a red card, and you're thrown out.
At certain levels, if it's in the caucus, I mean, they can do things like take away committee assignments and things like that.
Right.
So there is a point where it can have an impact. But I think there's an even a bigger question on this is the whole idea of party loyalty, and you see it, and I think this is perhaps an extension of just the idea that you vote for the candidate party label, regardless if the candidate has halfway decent credentials or not. At least you're going to say, I want this person to vote for or against tax cuts, or for or against abortion, or for or against voting reform. Doesn't matter about the person. We need their vote. And you saw that happen in Georgia with Herschel Walker. I can't imagine many people in Georgia who voted for him thought he was a capable candidate, but he was a Republican. And you saw the same thing here when Melissa Gilbert ran. Democrats were going to vote for her, even though she was clearly unqualified. So at what point do you say, I'm going to vote for my party regardless of the quality of the candidate? And this is just taking it, I think, to a further
Well, I think on both
extreme.
sides that's the problem. When you look at it and say, well, I'm just going to vote this because of that's the person of the party, and they may not be realistically the right person for the job.
I guess
at that time.
At a certain point, though, there is a denial of reality, I guess. You know, to where, you know, because
Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay.
Hold on, let me program my laser. I'll take care of that.
I got to wear tinfoil on my head. Wait a minute.
And that's okay. Yeah, I mean, where do you draw the line?
Right.
That's the question.
And look, the party, the Livingston County Republican, they have every right, obviously, to do this. It's not like this is some egregious thing that's been done.
That's right.
You know, this is the leadership has decided that this is what they wanted to do and send a message, and they've sent it. And that's fine. I think Mueller, for his instance, though, I think that it's worthwhile looking at some of the things he said, because he defended his vote.
He didn't back down a bit. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about the issues. I can see arguments against the pension tax and for the pension tax, but I was very impressed with how he stayed exactly with his point and explained why he was voting.
And
he had solid reasons.
Yeah, and I don't think when he cast that vote, he was like shocked that he was suddenly criticized. I mean, he's the lone Republican voting with Democrats. He had to know this was coming, and so maybe not the censure motion particularly, but that there was going to be criticism. And, you know, he basically said, I chose relief for all working class people over towing the party line and progress over partisanship. If more lawmakers would choose to make the tough decisions instead of constantly worrying about getting reelected, our state would move forward in a more civil manner. Then he laid out in detail why he thought voting for the package would actually provide more economic relief to his constituents than not voting for it.
See, but people won't stop and read that, and that's the thing. He tried to use a little common sense, and you just don't see a lot of that in government. Come on.
What?
Just say it.
I'm going to program my
I'm stunned. I'm speechless.
Yes, right.
You're breaking down all my core beliefs here.
Sorry. Somebody's got to do it.
You know, and interestingly enough, it was pointed out. Jordan Genso actually chimed in on the live chat, and this is true. He said there was a Democratic representative in the Redford area who did not vote for the Democrat-sponsored tax reform package.
Was there a censure there too, or no?
And so he's saying actually Mueller's vote was needed in order to make it pass. So and that's a good point.
Wait a minute. We have people listening to us who actually know what they're talking about. Did they not see the name of this segment?
So that excellent point.
So it wasn't critical. So well, in a way, I guess even more credibility.
I would say
it was an important vote. Yeah,
but obviously, hardcore Republicans would say the opposite. Like, hey, this should have failed.
Well, what about the representative from Redford? Did that rep get get censured or not?
That's a great point, because had Mueller not voted, let's say Mueller did not vote for the package and it went down to defeat, or it was delayed because they had to, what would have happened to that Democratic representative? I mean, he's kind of off the hook, you know, because his vote, he kind of just, it's a footnote.
Were these two in cahoots?
Cahoots?
Yes, I said cahoots.
What are you, Joe Yoon?
That's a bunch of malarkey, John.
Right, cracky. Yes. All right.
We love you, Joe.
And the thing has gotten so bad, and you're right, it's both parties, and once you start going in that direction, everybody seems kind of honor bound to stay with it. There was a time when votes, it wasn't unusual to have all sorts of dissenting votes on both sides. They weren't all party line votes.
Right. Well, I think the word compromise has just become a dirty word when it comes to.
I got to censor that. Hold on.
I've been canceled for saying compromise.
The kids are going to hear you.
I'm going to go back. I don't know when Traficant was in office, but I'm going to go back.
John will give you the date.
It was in the 80s, 70s, 80s.
How do you remember that crap from
back when
I was a nerd.
yeah. We're talking past tense here.
Shut
Shocker.
up. You know what? I'm
Shocker.
skipping out of here.
It's too bad this is live, and when you post it, can you censor some of these remarks?
We're gonna put those.
Too bad that's back when you were. So no, I mean, when Milliken was governor and he dealt with the Democratic legislature, and it was well known that he and the four leaders of the House and Senate, majority and minority leaders, would get together and say, okay, what are we going to do here? And then they would make agreements, and they would get the votes necessary, and then go back to their caucuses and get the votes. And if you were a Republican and a vote was shaky, you were allowed to vote against the governor's plan because they had enough votes on the Democratic side to pass it. I mean, they actually worked together and said this will be better for the state. Now, the other side of that story is the in this case, the Republicans are saying, no, what's better for the state is that we have to be loyal to these anti-tax movements. And so the question is, do you work with both sides, or do you say the other side is a face of evil and you have to oppose them 100% of the time?
Right.
And
I mean, I think it's also a vision. Part of this, at least when it comes to taxes, especially, I think it's part of a vision of what government is supposed to do.
Well,
because like you said, this orthodoxy in the Republican Party of all taxes all the time are always evil. I mean, that's essentially the policy.
Well, who was it? Grover Norquist, who said the idea is to starve the beast.
Right.
If you quit sending them money, they can't spend it.
Right. It's a notion of trying to go back to an era, basically a 19th century version of the government, the federal government, that was relatively small and powerless. But if you want things like services, I mean, even on the local level, like, look, when my house catches fire, I would like the fire department to show up. When there's a disturbance, I would like the police department to come help. I would like sidewalks that are, these things require tax dollars to maintain. Now, I'm not saying all taxes, it becomes a zero-sum thing. It's like, I'm not saying all taxes are always good all the time, but on the other hand, the notion that all taxes are always evil all the time, I mean, trying to find that nuance.
Well, I think we've seen, government spending that's gone overboard on certain things. So that's where the whole taxing thing, the argument comes in. And it's like when we're spending thousands of millions of dollars on things we don't really need to. That's
But but that's the thing. I'm saying it's an argument over basically what is the vision of what should the federal government be.
Well, it becomes any level of government. It becomes a huge philosophical thing to get back to it. I mean, do you just have the basics where government's role is to protect people's liberty and property, or do you have a community obligation to support an entire community?
Right.
And it's tougher if you're choosing the government side. Forget Republicans and Democrats, because on the one hand, the one side can always say, "Oh, you want the government to take your money and spend it the way they want to?" That's a tough position to defend,
right.
And that's what makes it difficult. And we're just individuals, and this is anytime you take our money with taxes, that's a claim against my liberty.
Right.
And if you take that position, it makes it hard to defend it, because you're right. You can always find government spending that's questionable.
Right, but I mean, like, philosophically speaking, the Republican Party, not even philosophically, I mean, some members of the party have explicitly said, look, they want to get rid of Social Security. They want to get rid of Medicare. And yet these are things that have become, part of the fabric of our society.
They want to get rid of it until they need it.
They're just not the fabric. The thing is, they've worked. I mean, before Social Security, people over 65 had the highest percentage of people in poverty, and now it's the lowest percentage. of people in poverty, and it's mostly because of Social Security. But Social Security has worked; it becomes so commonplace that you don't think about it. Nobody says, "Hey, government worked because we did Social Security."
Right. I mean, my favorite placard, and this was from about back during the Tea Party era.
Yeah.
Somebody that had "Get your government hands off my Medicare," and you're like,
Yes.
that is the government,
Well, you've got the Reagan supporters who love to quote to his thing as saying, "What we're going to tell our grandchildren someday what it was like
Right.
to have freedom, and once you lose freedom, you never get it back." Well, he was doing that when he was a paid shill against social programs like Social Security and Medicare.
Right.
So come on and say we don't want Social Security anymore. Okay, just be brave enough to say it. And unfortunately, like you say, some people are saying that.
Well, I'm going to censure you both for this whole conversation.
I mean, but you're right. When they have said it, then it is like they could say, as they say, the third rail of politics. When you start talking about it, but that's a third of the federal budget are those entitlement programs like Social Security and Medicare, and essentially. There really are off limits. I mean, to a certain extent. I mean, there have been times when they've tinkered with them or whatever, but any real proposal to do away with them or privatize them is almost always sort of dead on arrival.
Well,
I think they were telling us that wasn't going to be around when we were kids. Before we even started working, they were saying, "Oh, that's not even going to be around when you're older."
You bring that up as a great point because in 1986, nerd again, there was a compromise package. This is during the Reagan administration. Democrats and Republicans compromised and they reformed Social Security.
I thought you outruled that word. We couldn't say.
I got to censor myself now. I'm sorry, but they came together and they reformed Social Security and they saved it for another generation because back then they were talking about, hey, we're going to run out of money, and so they came together and put it together.
Sometime after this call, you and I have to get together and we'll have a quorum and we'll censor.
We'll censor each other.
No, we'll censor John for.
Yeah. You two. I'm sorry. I'm out. Okay.
For being too nerdy on the show.
You bring up James Traficant, and the next thing you know,
it's the domino effect.
I thought Traficant played a cop on some cop show back in the 70s.
Well, but you also bring up a good point on the size of the budget that these things are. I mean, it's easy to find things that the government wastes money on. But the fact is, you could get rid of all that expenditures, and it doesn't have anything to do with how much we're spending at the federal level. It's defense and Social Security and Medicare. That pretty much covers it all. If you're not going to touch those, you're not going to reduce the budget.
All right. So are we back to Miller?
We never.
Mueller,
that's
Mueller?
our next big controversy.
Tomato.
Right.
But was this his first time that he got elected? I know it's a new deal.
No, I believe he's in his second term.
Was it his second term? Because he was a sheriff's deputy, correct? Here in Livingston.
But he got. I did have some research done, and he won his race pretty easily, both the primary and the general election.
Oh, for sure. And just looking on social media, it seemed as if a lot of his constituents. I mean, there were criticisms, obviously, but it seemed like many of his constituents were thanking him, and indeed, actually thanking him for bucking the line and doing what was right. So.
Well, I guess things will really be determined by how many people are going to his apple orchard and buying applesauce and apples and cider. And
speaking of which, I mean, there was one individual, looking at you, Larry, who was trying to, basically tar the family business and say, "Oh, this should,
get out."
Yeah,
see,
right.
So.
And this is where it gets.
You get to the point where I don't think he will do that, but you're going to get to the point where some people won't necessarily leave public service. But they'll look at it and say, "I don't need this," and they won't get into it.
Right.
Well,
and so who does that leave it to?
Right. James Traficant.
Is he still around?
I don't think so. The guy had the worst rug too. He really did. But that's besides the point. All right. Well, interesting conversation as always. Appreciate it very much. And
I know less than when I woke up this morning.
Perfect.
So
We've achieved our goal.
All right, Rich. Have a great
weekend.
It
would have been perfect had Jordan not piped in and told me something.
Thanks, Jordan. Your facts.
Right.
All right, Rich. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next week, buddy.
All right.
Sounds like a plan.
Thanks.
All right, Rich Proberg joining us with the less you know, as he usually does on Thursdays.
Yes.
Got the day right.
Speaking of Jordan,
We got to talk about Jordan again.
Yeah, well,
the river.
The River Jordan. Okay.
You mean the official Giggle Realtor,
That's
Jordan
true.
Genso?
Yeah, of course, sponsor of Mike and John, got it going on. And
I hear he's got a few years under his belt in the real estate business.
he does, actually. We've been getting our jor bits and learning, a little bit more about him.
Chomping on the jorbit today. And what is the jorbit today? Like a dog with a rope. All right.
Okay. So today, actually, we're going to take a look at, again, more of his service on the Brighton District Library Board. Each year in March, the Brighton Library displays artwork from the 4 Brighton elementary schools.
Check it out.
Yeah, yesterday Jordan posted photos of his favorites from this year's collection to his Facebook page, and we've got that up on screen right now. You can see some of the pictures that were on his Facebook page, which is, of course, Jordan Genso, community servant, community realtor. He says, but as with most arts, he recommends you visit the Brighton Library in person to view the artworks. So, again, part of his community servant, community realtor role, serving on the Brighton District Library Board.
All right. If you need a realtor with experience serving Livingston County communities, give Jordan a call today at 248-444-9777, or you can find him on Facebook. I think we mentioned that site, his Facebook page.
I believe it's called Community Servant, Community
Yes,
Realtor.
Jordan Genso. So thank you, Jordan, for being a sponsor of the show. We appreciate that, as always. 2-cent history lesson for today.
Yes.
It's March 23rd, John. You know what that means?
323?
32323.
Oh, 323.
Say it with me now.
32323.
32323. National Melba Toast Day.
No thanks.
Melba toast, isn't it the small,
Yeah.
like rock hard toast?
They're like crackers, really.
It's not. Yeah, it isn't really. It's
Right.
like leftovers.
See,
or
when you
something.
say Melba toast, I instantly go back to the 1970s because that was like a diet type food.
Yes. Here, have a little sandwich.
Right. They'd be like, here's your little thing of tuna in your Melba,
Melba.
toast.
Melba. Who is Melba? That she got a toast named after her. Or maybe Melba's the guy. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's National Chip and Dip Day.
Look into that right now.
Chip and Dip Day.
Don't waste it on Melba toast.
It's OK Day. It's also Near Miss Day. Commemorates a day when a huge asteroid nearly hit the planet Earth. March 23rd of 1989, an asteroid the size of a mountain came 500,000 miles close to colliding with Earth.
That's very close.
It's 500,000
In
miles.
astronomical terms, that's
astronomical.
A whisker.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Proclaimers, I would walk 500,000 miles.
Sure. Okay. Let's go put it that way. By the way, Melba toast named after Dame Nellie Melba,
Deli Melba.
an Australian opera singer.
Oh, it's named after a dame?
Yeah, Dame Nellie Melba.
Say that 3 times.
Dame Nellie Melba. Dame Nellie Melba. Dame Nellie Melba.
That was fun.
Thank you.
1743, the standing ovation was introduced by England's George II. Come on. All right, it's over. We'll do the wave. You just sat down.
Hold on.
They've moved on to the next scene.
Okay, hold on.
Now can you hold your hold your cane with your knees?
Yeah, hold on. Harumph!
There you go. England's George II rose to his feet during a performance and the rest of the audience followed.
Okay.
So they said, well, the king did,
Well,
and
the
I guess
king,
I
you
got to
know.
do it. See? That's why you should have led.
Gotta wait.
1775, American revolutionary Patrick Henry proclaimed, "Give me liberty or give me death." Didn't they kill him?
No.
Oh, they didn't? No. Well, I guess he got liberty then.
Yeah, he did get the liberty. So did we.
The first U.S. patent in 1794 was issued to Joseph G. Pearson for the riveting machine. Joseph G.
Joe G.
Joji
Joe G.
went over to his buddy Levi. He said, "It's Strauss. Bring some jeans over here. I got a riveting machine." The Wright brothers received a patent for an airplane in 1903. Anything ever happen with that?
I don't know. I suppose it, made a few bucks off of it.
Would you like a Melba toast for your snack today?
You wonder if on that inaugural flight, if he had
If they had a snack.
Yeah, a little snack for him. Here you go for your
Would you
12-second flight.
Would you like peanuts? The first telephone was installed in the White House in 1929. That phone still has to be around, don't you think? Is it
You would think
or
that it's like a
they have in the
historic
basement somewhere,
phone,
all
yeah.
dusty. You know, you got to wonder who the first call was to or from. Well, you don't have to. I
mean,
these things.
you're right.
You don't have to wonder it, but you know, somebody selling something. Did Ed McMahon call?
Right. Maybe it was to censure somebody.
It could have been.
Maybe they're calling James Traficant.
John Lennon in 1973 was ordered to leave the United States within 60 days by immigration authorities who decided not to renew his visa because of a drug conviction.
Right. It was really part of a political attack by the Nixon administration against Lennon because he was an anti-war activist, and they were just trying to get him out. He fought it and obviously won.
He fought the law, but the law didn't win.
The law did not win.
He began a long fight to win his green card, which was given to him on July 27th of 1976. So yeah, that was a rather long fight. Former CCR Revival frontman John Fogerty in 1985 hit number 1 on the U.S. charts with Center Field.
Great album.
Probably going to hear that very shortly.
Baseball season.
Unless you've been down in Florida
Well,
in
right.
spring training and stuff, they've probably already played it.
That's one of those albums, by the way, that
was a good album.
you could listen first side, second. Every song was you'd listen straight through. You know, there's a lot of albums or cassettes or whatever.
Albums are where
Well,
they put
yeah,
all
you
these
gotta-
songs on one disc.
And there'd always be like 2 or 3 clunkers, and you just kind of like either lift the
that
needle over it or you just fast forward. You know,
Kind of
I
like
hate that.
John and Yoko's Double Fantasy. That was one where the needle, you were just picking it up. Okay, let's skip
You
Yoko.
didn't want to hear Yoko's?
Whatever that was, no.
You leave Yoko alone.
Censure me.
Censure you.
That's your 2-cent history lesson for this.
All right.
32323.
3, 2, 3, 2, 3.
You got a little
3, 2, 3,
you
2,
got a little
3.
tongue stuck on the second 2-3.
I hate when that happens. All right. Hey, I want to thank the folks at Murphy's Family Auto, of course, supporters here at Mike and John Got It Going On. They're your place to go for everything you need for your car and truck maintenance, tune-ups, brakes, expert electrical, wheel balancing, tire shock suspension. It's the whole shebang. Give them a call, 517-552-3040, or check them out online, murphysfamilyauto.com.
Your car knows.
Yes.
And we'll see you back here tomorrow.
Will we,
Mike and
though?
John got it going on.
What do we got going on tomorrow? I don't know. Well, we'll talk to the great Bonnie Runyon.
Yes, we will.
Check in with Rhonda, see how the gala/gala
Masquerade
is going.
Spring bash is going.
Yeah, so lots to do on Friday. We'll talk to you then.
You've been giggling with Mike and John. Tune in next time and giggle on.